What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Sideswipe the Boss, back at it again with another video, and I am here with another tier list. So another request from that same subscriber. He asked, could I do the Legends of Tomorrow in a tier list? So that is what I'm gonna do today. And before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that if you like this video, well, hit that like button. It just takes 2 seconds. And if you like this video and want to see more like it, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my new and upcoming content. So here we are with the Legends of Tomorrow. Basically like the main characters up to this current season, season 5, and maybe a few side characters here and there, and main villains. So first up we have Vandal Savage. He was a bad Vandal Savage. It was disappointing how bad he was. He's such a great villain in the comics, but in the show he was just terrible. He was terrible, cheesy, all that. So I'm gonna have to put him in the F tier. Sorry, not sorry. Next up we have Nate Haywood, aka Citizen Steel, and he's a pretty good character actually. Season 4, I didn't really like him in season 4. He was kind of like dry. Well, not dry, but he didn't use his powers a lot. He was in the Time Bureau most of the time. But he's a pretty solid character, so I'm going to put him in the B tier. Maybe he'll be at the top of the B tier, though. Next up, we have Ava Sharp, and she's also a decent character, I guess. Not really like anything special to me, to be honest. I mean, she does have that relationship with Sarah, so I guess that's fine. But other than that, she's a clone and whatever. So I'll put her in the C tier. Next up, we have Zari Tomaz, but it's going to be like this season's Zari Tomaz, like the social media influencer or something like that. She's, to me. She looks like she might be getting better, though, because this last episode kind of pushed her story a little bit more. So I kind of like that, but for right now, I'm going to put her in the D tier. Next up, we have Damien Dark. I won't be counting his arrow time in here since this is a Legends of Tomorrow tier list. But Damien Dark was pretty good in Legends of Tomorrow, actually. Way better than he was in Arrow. I guess he was like more funnier. He had better connections with the other characters. Like he had some pretty good rivalries when he was a villain in season 2 and 3. And he has a great relationship with his daughter. So I have to put him in A tier for Legend of Tomorrow. He's a great villain. Next up, we have Jefferson Jackson, or Jax. He's the first half of Firestorm. And he's pretty good as too. I mean, I was sad to see him go when he did. But he's a pretty good character. I like seeing him as Firestorm as well. I'll put him in the B tier though. Next up, we have Eobard Thawne, and I'll only be counting his time in Legends. He was also pretty good. I mean, I guess, I don't know. It was weird that a speedster would be a villain for like a Legends of Tomorrow team, but I guess that makes sense. And plus, it was a team of villains too, so I guess that actually makes more sense now that I think about it. But yeah, he was a great villain for the season that he was in. So I'm going to have to put him in the A tier, but the top of the A tier. Next up, we have Martin Stein, the other half of Firestorm. And he was great. I mean, he was a great character. Yeah, it was sad to see him die. It was a pretty emotional death. He had great connections with the characters. So yeah, I'm going to have to put him in the A tier. Next up, we have Gary. And Gary, he's like a comedy relief character. That's really his only purpose in the show, to be honest. I don't really know if he has like an overarching storyline or something, but he's just comedic relief. Sometimes he's funny though. But I'll just put him at the top of the D tier for right now because he doesn't serve as anything else. Next up, we have Jonah Hex, and he's only a character. He only appeared in like 3 episodes for the whole season. Not for the whole season, for the whole show. But he's a pretty important character nonetheless because he does appear every season at least once. And he's a pretty decent Jonah Hex. Way better than the movie version for sure. But I'm going to just have to put him in the B tier, but the low B tier. Next up, we have Zari Tomez, the one from seasons 3 and 4, and she was a pretty decent character. Um, she had a pretty good like arc when she first appeared. Working with a team and stuff like that. Finding like her power within or with the totem. So I'll put her in the C tier, maybe the beginning of the C tier. Next up, we have Astra. She's like the current villain right now. I think she's the main villain. It's not really clear who's the main villain right now, but she's an character to me. Nothing. She just stays in hell the whole time right now. She might get out. I don't know if she's gonna get out yet. That's the deal she has, but she's just an villain. I like her connection with John Constantine though, so I'll put her in the upper D tier then. Next up, we have Bayrod Tomez, who's the brother of Zari, and he's been in just this season. He's okay. I mean, he has a pretty good connection with his sister and a pretty good friendship with Nate as well. But that's really it. Oh, spoiler alert. If you don't want to hear a spoiler, skip to this timestamp. Okay, I gave you enough time. It looks like he died, actually, but he might get saved at the end of the season. If you didn't watch the last episode, he died. So, yeah, that happened. But he might get saved. I don't know yet. But he's just, I'll just give him a low C tier. Next up, we have Carter Hall, aka Hawkman. And he wasn't that great. He definitely wasn't as bad as Hawk Girl for sure. But he was just there, to be honest. He only appeared in like 4 episodes. 4 or 5. But I'll just put him at the bottom of the D tier because he really wasn't that good of a character. Next up, we have John Constantine, and he's a great character. I mean, Matt Ryan is the perfect casting for the role. He plays a great Constantine. His character, it was kind of watered down, though, to fit the Legends style, more comedy than seriousness. But I'm going to just put him in the S tier, though, because he is a great character. Even though he was a little bit watered down, he's still funny at times, and he's just awesome to me. So S tier for Constantine. Next up, we have Wally West, aka Kid Flash, and I'll be counting just his time on Legends. He was pretty good. He only appeared in like 6 or 7 episodes in season 3, but he was a pretty good character. He definitely fit better in the Legends than he did on Flash for sure, at least at that time period. So I'll put him in the mid B tier. He wasn't really, like, he fit better for sure, but I don't think he was still like A tier material for me. Next up, we have Hawk Girl, and she was bad, like really bad, like worse than Vandal Savage. It was terrible. F tier. Y'all already knew. Next up, we have Captain Cold, aka Leonard Snart, and he was also S tier material. He was just a great character when he was there, and I was sad to see him go when he did, because he brought like humor. He brought that charismatic feeling as well. He also had great connections with, like, of course, Rory, and also like Sarah, and it was just cool to see. Next up, we have Charlie. I think that's what her name is. She appeared in season 4, and she's been on the Legends ship ever since. She's an okay character. Also, another spoiler, if you haven't been watching season 5, skip to this time stamp. So she's kind of having a little storyline now with like her sisters coming back, and they're looking for like this loom thing, I think it is. And I guess that could be a good storyline if it works out well. But for right now, she's low C tier material. Next up, we have Malcolm Merlin. Once again, only counting his Legends time. He was a pretty good villain. He didn't do really as much as Damien Dark or Eobard Thawne did when he was a villain. So I have to put him in the low B tier, but he was still pretty good nonetheless. Next up, we have Malice, or Malice, whatever you want to call him. He was a pretty good villain when he appeared. He only appeared as a voice for most of the season, and then only in like one episode in the end of another episode, his true form appeared. But it was pretty good CGI for him nonetheless. And he was a pretty intimidating villain, especially John Noble voicing him. It was very cool. So I'll put him in the mid B tier. Next up, we have Mick Rory. And Mick Rory was also watered down to fit the legend style as well. Kind of like more jokey and more comedic. And he's an okay character. Not as good as his partner, Captain Cold. So for me, Mick shall be in the... I'll put him at the beginning of the C tier. Next up, we have Mona Wu, I think that's what her name is. And I don't know why her character was introduced in the show. I don't know why at all. Like, what was the purpose? I don't really know the purpose. Just to give, like, friendly advice to people? I don't know. Don't understand. Definitely F tier. Next up, we have Ray Palmer, aka the Atom. And he's a pretty good character nonetheless. He started out pretty great, but then also he was kind of watered down as well to fit the Legends comedic style. Taking a little back seat because he's much more smarter than the show makes him out to be. But he's a good character nonetheless. And it was kind of sad to see him leave when he did earlier this season. So I'll put him in the A tier, but the bottom of the A tier. Next up, we have Neron. I think that's what his name is. And he's a cloud here because I don't really think he showed like a true form. Well, his true form was technically a cloud. But he was I can't really judge him that much because he was possessing other characters. So he didn't really have a character of his own. So I'll have to put him in the low D tier though. Because he was kind of decent, but not really decent at all. Now that I think about it, not really good at all. So definitely D tier. Next up, we have Nora Dark. And she's also a pretty okay character. I like her relationship with her father, and I like the relationship between her and Ray. Oh, fun fact, that both those actors, actor for Ray Palmer and the actor for Nora Dark, they're actually married in real life. So I guess that's why their relationship works so well. So I have to put her in the mid B tier because she is a pretty good character. She also left this season. Next up, we have Rip Hunter, the guy who brought them all together. He's a pretty good character. It was sad to see him die when he did in season 3, and it was kind of a pointless death because it didn't help anything. But he was a pretty good character when he was actually in the show. So I'll put him at the low A tier. Next up, we have Sarah Lance. And Sarah, she's like the leader of the team, I guess, in a way. Well, she's the captain, so yeah, she is the leader of the team. And she's a pretty good character. She has some pretty good moments, pretty good emotional moments. Her relationships, I like her relationships, like her friends and stuff. Her romantic relationship is but she's a pretty good character nonetheless. So I'll put her at the top of the B tier. And finally, we have Amaya Jiwei, aka Vixen. And she's a pretty good character when she arrives. Not really anything too special. I mean, she did have that relationship with Nate, and I actually kind of like that, especially better than the Zari and Nate relationship. And her powers were cool as well. So I'm also have to put her in the B tier as well. But I'll say the mid B tier. Wow, B tier is getting pretty long. So that's the list, folks. F tier, we have Vandal Savage, Kendra Saunders, and Mona Wu. D tier, we have Astra, Gary Green, Zari Tomaz from this current season, Carter Hall, and Neron. C tier, we have Mick Rory, Zari Tomaz from seasons 3 and 4, Ava Sharp, Bayrod Tomaz, and Charlie. B tier, we have Sarah Lance, Nate Haywood, Wally West, Jefferson Jackson, Amaya Jiwei, Nora Dark, Mollis, Jonah Hex, and Malcolm Merlin. A tier, we have Eobarthon, Damian Dark, Martin Stein, Ray Palmer, and Rip Hunter. And S tier, we have John Constantine and Captain Cold. Well, that's all for this tier list, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Let me know in the comment section down below what your tier list is. Would you change mine in any way, or would you keep it the same as mine? Let me know that in the comment section down below. And if you like this video, hit that like button. And if you want to see more videos like it, make sure to subscribe. And also leave in the comments down below what tier list you want to see next. I have one more tier list that was asked by a subscriber before I can take more options. So leave more options in the comment section down below, and I'll get to those as soon as I can. And I will catch you guys next time. Peace out.